Have you ever felt like building wealth is some kind of secret club you weren't invited to? Well, in this explainer, we're going to lay out the 5-phase roadmap that shows it's not about luck at all. It's a skill, and it's a system that anyone can learn. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's just tackle the elephant in the room right away. Is building real wealth only for the super lucky, or is it something you can actually, build from the ground up? So many people get stopped right here, thinking they don't deserve it, or it's just not in the cards for them. But what if that one belief is the very first wall you need to tear down?
I love this quote because it just nails it. Building wealth literally starts with a choice you make in your head. A scarcity mindset? Well, that pretty much guarantees you'll find nothing. But an abundance mindset? That forces you to ask a much better question.
So here's the roadmap, the game plan. We're going to start with a psychological foundation. Then, we build a rock-solid financial base. After that, it's all about supercharging your income, automating your investing, and then finally, we unlock the ownership and leverage strategies that the wealthy really use.
Okay, phase 1, the psychological foundation. Look, you can have all the best financial strategies in the entire world, but if your own mindset is fighting you every step of the way, you are going absolutely nowhere. This is the non-negotiable starting line.
And this pretty much captures the entire shift, right? Scarcity thinking tells you there's no money out there. And boof, the conversation's over. But abundance thinking makes you ask, okay, the money is out there, so how can I get some of it to flow my way? That simple change in question changes everything.
The other big piece of this psychological puzzle is closing what we call the knowledge gap. As the experts always say, knowledge is way more powerful than money. I mean, if you don't know what to do with cash, it's pretty useless, right? So you gotta immerse yourself, read books, find a mentor, join communities, just build up that financial literacy.
All right, let's move on to phase 2, which is all about getting your financial house in order. Think about it. You wouldn't build a mansion on a shaky foundation, would you? The same thing goes for your wealth. This is that crucial and honestly often overlooked prep work.
And there are really 3 simple steps to get that house in order. First, audit your life. You need to know exactly how much it costs to be you, every single month. Second, destroy any high-interest debt, like credit cards. And third, build yourself a rainy day fund with at least 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. That little buffer is what gives you the freedom to take smart risks later on.
And this right here is why getting rid of that high-interest debt is an absolute non-negotiable. Trying to earn, say, an 8% return from your investments while you're paying 25% interest on a credit card, it's literally like trying to fill a bathtub with the drain wide open. You're just pouring money away, so plug the leak first. All right, so your foundation is solid. Now we get to shift from playing defense to playing offense. Phase 3 is all about supercharging your main income. Because for most of us, let's be real, trying to save your way to wealth is an incredibly slow and painful path.
So here's a little secret from the really wealthy. Forget about having 7 streams of income, at least for now. Your very first goal is to make one stream an absolute raging river. Wealth is built through concentration. You gotta focus on becoming amazing at one thing first.
So how do you build that river? Simple. You become world-class at what you do. Think about it. You can only cut your expenses down so far, right? There's a floor, but there is literally no ceiling, no limit on your potential to earn more. The more valuable you become, the more you can command. And now we get to phase 4, investing. And the good news? It does not have to be some complicated, scary thing. In fact, the most effective way for beginners to start is surprisingly boring. And that's exactly why it works so well. It's all about consistency.
So, what's the strategy? Forget about trying to find the next Tesla or Apple. That's like searching for a needle in a haystack, and honestly, it's pretty much just gambling. So instead, just buy the entire haystack. By investing in a broad market index fund, you get to own a tiny piece of hundreds of the world's top companies.
So why is buying the haystack so powerful? Well, because an index fund like the S&P 500, that's the 500 biggest companies in the US, has historically returned around 10% a year on average. You're not betting on one company to succeed, you're just betting on the whole economy to grow over time. It's a much safer bet.
Okay, but it's not just what you invest in, it's where you invest it. You've got to use tax-efficient accounts, sometimes called wrappers. So in the UK, we're talking about things like ISAs and pensions. In the US, it's your 401ks and Roth IRAs. Think of these accounts as a gift from the government that protects your investment growth from taxes, letting it grow way faster.
Now, the real key to making all of this work is to automate it. You have to follow the golden rule. Pay yourself first. This is a huge mindset shift. You're not investing what's left over after you spend, you're spending what's left over after you invest. So set up an automatic transfer for at least 10% of your paycheck the day you get paid, and just let the system do the heavy lifting for you.
And that brings us to the final phase, the end game. This is where you start to use the more advanced tools, the stuff the wealthy use to truly make their money work for them instead of the other way around. This is all about ownership and leverage.
The big concept here is leverage. You know, most of us are taught that all debt is bad, but the wealthy, they know that good debt is one of the most powerful wealth-building tools on the planet. Leverage is just using other people's money, like a bank loan, to buy an asset that's much bigger than what you could ever afford on your own.
Real estate is the classic perfect example of where leverage becomes just unbelievably powerful. Let's just walk through a really quick example so you can see how it works.
So let's say you've worked hard and you've saved up $50,000 for a down payment. That's your cash. That's your skin in the game.
But with that 50 grand, the bank gives you a loan for the other 350,000. So now you don't control a $50,000 asset. You control a $400,000 asset. And here's the magic. Any growth, any appreciation is based on the full 400K, not just your 50. That is the incredible mind-bending power of leverage.
And if you want to get even more advanced, there's a strategy called geographic arbitrage. Just think about it for a second. What if you could earn a salary from a high-paying city like Dubai, but you could live or invest somewhere with a much, much lower cost of living? Playing that difference, that arbitrage, can dramatically speed up how fast you build wealth.
So there you have it, a 5-phase journey from mindset all the way to mastery. The path is actually clear. It's not some big secret, and it's definitely not about luck. It's about following a proven system. So really, the only question left is, when are you going to get in the car and start driving?